Quentin is at it again, dropping truth bombs, and I am here for it. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I actually think one of my strengths is my storytelling. Because I actually am committing to telling a story. I like it when somebody tells me a story, and I actually really feel that that's becoming like a lost art.
It seems like every other week I'm making a video about how Quentin Tarantino is saying all the things that I've been thinking and saying on this channel for years now.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
I think part of it is him just unleashing because he knows at this point in his career, he has nothing to lose. But the other part of it is, like me, he desperately cares about the art form of film. And he knows exactly what the issues are with modern entertainment. And this week he once again hit the nail right on the head as it pertains to one of the biggest issues facing the entertainment industry right now, that being streaming.
You about to cross some lines.
Guys,
While speaking with Deadline, Tarantino took aim at streaming services when he said, quote, "I mean, and I'm not picking on anybody, but apparently for Netflix, Ryan Reynolds has made $50 million on this movie, $50 million on that movie, and $50 million on the next movie for them. I don't know what any of those movies are. I've never seen them, have you? I haven't talked to Ryan Reynolds' agent, but his agent is like, well, it cost $50 million. Well, good for him that he's making so much money. But those movies don't exist in the zeitgeist. It's almost like they don't even exist."
why?
I want all of you to think about this for a moment and try to process exactly what he's saying, because he's 100% right. Have any of you watched Six Underground or Red Notice or The Atom Project? And if you have, do you remember anything about them?
Not a damn thing!
I personally watched and reviewed The Atom Project, and as it stands right now, I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. These streaming movies are nothing more than a company like Netflix throwing a whole bunch of money at an established actor to create a movie that no one will remember just to feed their content machine. You see, it's all about perception. Netflix is trying to justify whatever their subscription fee is and will be in the future. And in order to do that in their minds, it's quantity over quality.
That makes sense.
Just flood the market and give people so much content that they feel like they're getting their money's worth. The biggest issue with that is too much content can be a bad thing because a lot of that content is going to get lost in the shuffle, especially if they're not doing anything in those projects to stand out. And then you have these Ryan Reynolds type movies like the ones I just mentioned a moment ago that just hold no cultural significance whatsoever and will be forgotten as quickly as they were released.
That's right, it stinks!
It's filler, pure and simple, very expensive filler, but filler nonetheless. So I ask again, how are these streaming movies improving the art form? The answer is they are not. Like Tarantino said, it's like they don't exist. You might hear about them initially and briefly, but the hype on them quickly fades, because they typically offer nothing in the way of leaving a lasting impression.
How can you not care?
Like this.
Sure, it might be more convenient and cheaper to watch these movies than it is to watch movies in the theater, but that doesn't make it a good product. I want all of you to think back to 2018 when the movie Bird Box starring Sandra Bullock was getting some kind of hype on Netflix. Now truthfully, if we're being honest with ourselves, if that movie was released in theaters, no one would have cared about it. In fact, it would have came and went without so much as an article written about it.
Nobody cares.
But because it was readily available and easy to find, and basically free on Netflix, everyone overhyped it. And now, 5 years later, do you ever hear anyone mentioning Bird Box when talking about films other than me mentioning it just now? Of course you don't. And do you know why? Because now, 5 years later, it has realized its true potential and become just another piece of filler. Just another lost title in Netflix's large catalog of original movies.
We ain't found shit!
The movie was completely forgettable and the product of the Netflix content hype machine. You see, people who pay attention to these things and don't just blindly support everything that comes across their TV screen and don't just watch garbage for the sake of watching anything, those people know that streaming service movies are a problem for the most part.
No,
Don't like that.
Now, recently there have been some credible directors who have hooked up with streaming services like Martin Scorsese or David Fincher. And while those projects were an improvement over the regular content we get on those platforms, I would argue that those movies produced under Netflix, movies like The Irishman and Mank, suffered a similar fate of being lost in the shuffle anyway, basically proving that no one can escape the sea of mediocrity that Netflix typically offers. And that's why I think it's safe to say that we won't be seeing Tarantino signing up for a Netflix project anytime in the near future. And you know what? I commend him for that. For being one of the few people who refuses to go down that route. Because truthfully, he doesn't need them. Like he said many times before, he is not a hired hand. He is his own entity. He is his own creative mind. And he values the art form too much, and the theater experience too much, and his own abilities too much to release a project on Netflix that will ultimately become just another piece of content.
Damn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
Once again, this is all about having some level of standards, both as a creator and as an audience member, and understanding what needs to be done to save a movie industry that is right now on life support creatively. We have to stop thinking in terms of we should just be happy to have all this content to consume. No, what you should be doing is looking for quality over quantity. I'd rather watch 5 brilliant movies a year than I would watch 50 mediocre ones. I want creative people to be put in a space where they are left to create something that is going to stick with me, and something that I'm going to be watching for years and years after its release. The Netflix binge and garbage tier content model isn't helping anyone, and we need to get past our desires as audience members for convenience and start to seek out better entertainment.
I don't need you to tell me how fucking good my coffee is, okay? I'm the one who buys it. I know how good it is.
Y'all be cool. Nah.